Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. My name is Kaylee.
My name is Desi.
Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on post notifications. And before we get into this case, we always encourage those who have useful information for any unsolved case, please report to your local police and sheriff department.
From Johnny Depp's infamous role in Pirates of the Caribbean to the North Carolina legend of Blackbeard, the life of pirates has fantasized us. What if we told you that one of the most successful pirates in history was a woman and not a man, just like everything else, because women are fucking great.
We're badass.
We're just bad bitches! With that being said, today we will be retelling the life of pirate queen Chang Yi Sao and her region over the South China Sea.
So, Shi Yang, that's what she was referred to before she married her husband, but she was believed to be born around 1775 to 1785. Now, records back then were very limited, so this is just an estimate. We don't know the exact years. Her parents are unknown, and historians do believe that her parents could have been tankas, which are boat people, and Shi Yang worked as a female prostitute before she got married in 1801. So during this time, most women had no access to power. In 1801, she did meet her husband, Chang Yi, and he was a pirate and he had deep roots in piracy. From the 14th century, his family held claim to hold the Chinese Sea, and he was a privateer for the Vietnamese dynasty. And Shi Yang took the name Chang Yi Sao, or Chang Yi's wife, and some sources state that she married him under the condition if he were to agree that they would split their finances evenly. So she was a very smart woman. And Chang Yi, her husband, was a leader of a large private pirate confederation who terrorized those in the South China Sea. In 2 years, this man built his fleet up to 600 ships and 40,000 men. So a reference on like how big this actually really is Blackbeard, which is one of the most infamous North Carolina pirates. He had a fleet of 300 crewmen. So that's a pretty big difference.
Man had big brass balls.
Yep.
Yeah. The ships were divided up into 6 different divisions, each having its own separate commander, and each division even had a different colored flag. Chang Yi commanded one of the largest divisions, which was a 200 ship red flag fleet. The fleets attacked and stole precious goods from ships of the waters of Hong Kong to Vietnam. And the hotspot was located near Canton, modern Guangzhou, and the islands of Canton River Delta. Europeans called this place Ladrones, which is thieves. Captured cargo items often included gold, silver, rolls of silk, spices, Chinese porcelain, tea, and cotton. Goods would then be sold to merchants along the coast, and the coastal towns were raided by foreign ships. And the reason for this is either to loot towns of precious goods or even encourage them to pay protection money, which was very popular back then, actually.
Yep.
Even before then, very popular. And even merchant ships had to pay up in order to avoid getting attacked from the Confederation. For the most part, Chinese authorities had multiple unsuccessful attempts and did not affect Chang Yi. That was up until 1807 when he was killed.
After he was killed/died, it is unclear whether he died during the battle or from a typhoon, and the rest of the 5 captains left had to make a decision for who they wanted to take over the Confederation. Surprisingly, very surprisingly, they put his widow, Chang Yi Sao, in charge, and Chang Pao would become her new lover. Chang Pao's fashion statement was a black turban and a long purple cloak. He would be the second in command, And by 1807, the fleet had grown to be 800 ships, and most of the ships were junks. So junks carried up to 800 tons of cargo and Bristol, and they had 40 cannon. And junks did not have keel, and they had a retractable rudder. So this would allow the junk to enter shallow water. And this was extremely helpful for surprise attacks against anchored ships. And sometimes they did also carry small boats and swivel cannons. And it is believed that her confederation consisted up to 70,000 men. So this made it possible to take on small European naval fleet.
Got that.
So they were powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's a quote from a member of the Royal Navy after HMS Phaeton and HMS Bellona tried to scare off the pirates. About 60 or 70 sail of Ladrones passed in the most impudent manner within range of the guns. Determined to punish the presumption of these pirates, the frigate opened a smart fire. I thought that said small fire.
I thought you were so smart, water.
Smart water. Opened a smart. I almost just said smart water too. Fuck. Opened a smart fire on them, which was received by the Ladrones with the utmost coolness and indifference, and without even returning a shot. Mariners who did not fight back would leave unscathed. However, those who did not surrender faced torture and or execution if captured. European mariners fared better, although sailor Richard Glasspool claimed he was not. He claimed he had to survive off caterpillars and rice in a rat-infested section of the ship. He stated that those captured had the option to become pirates or whipped to death, and Glasspool had gunnery skills, therefore he was used to assist with firing the cannons like anyone would expect.
That'd be rough to live off of bugs and rice.
Tasty. My favorite. Just imagine you ask, what kind of meal are we having for dinner? And they say the same shit we had for lunch. And you're like, oh, this is boring. Like, wow.
So, defeat of the Chinese Navy. So, Chang Yi Sao focused most of her efforts in the Canton area. So, in both July 1808 and July 1809, she annihilated Chinese naval fleets that guarded the river delta. The first battle took about 16 hours, and afterwards, the Chinese admiral committed suicide.
Oh!
Damn.
Damn, he said, I'm just killing myself.
I mean, after all that, like...
He said, I don't want to live no more.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks.
And the second attack required more planning. She ordered her men to swim to the Chinese ships and board them, and coastal towns would be torched. In August, 80 villagers were executed in Sanshan, and their heads were hung up on trees. And that served as a warning. In September, 1,000 civilians were brutally killed on Teochew Island. In September 1809, 2 heavily armed Portuguese warships protecting Macao were taken out, and over 10,000 civilians were killed in this sustained campaign of terror.
Not only did Chang Yi Sao lead a massive fleet, and there's dog hair on my sock, lead a massive fleet and was a very successful pirate, but she also had a unique set of rules. Rules. Pirates may not go to shore without permission. If violated, the first offense, ears would be slit, and second offense, execution? That's rough, my guy.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. Just to go out. Oh my god.
She was disciplined.
Yeah, she said, you're gonna learn this day, boy. Get back to work. Capture goods must be registered before sold. An individual ship that captures goods is allowed 1/5, but the rest of it must be added to the general prize fund of the entire fleet. For holding back plundered goods, the offender would be whipped. Fair enough. And there would be no abuse of women or capture of a woman without permission from the quartermaster. The rape of women was punishable by death, which we should have that anyways, you know.
Yeah.
But we kind of suck. And if they found out that the woman gave consent, the man would be beheaded, and the woman would be thrown overboard with weights attached. God damn.
It was brutal.
Damn, bro. Also, a pirate is allowed to buy a woman for $40. $40? Damn.
But you gotta think back then, $40 was a lot.
That's one piece of ass, man. Crazy. And he must not hold her ransom. Townsfolk must be paid for their provisions, which is pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually, like all the piracy would eventually come to an end, usually by capturing and a beheading. However, Chang Yi Sao was very lucky. She was incredibly lucky. So Chinese authorities realized that due to the piracy, civilians struggled to afford anything, so they needed to do something about it. And Ko Po Tai realized that commanding large fleets became very taxing. He led 100 black flag ship fleet. He refused to assist his rival's red flag fleet in a battle against a Chinese and Portuguese fleet at Lantau near Hong Kong in November 1809. Because Chang Pao attacked him, Ku Po Tai somehow still won this battle, and he quickly realized even though he won the battle, his days were numbered. So he was like, okay, I should just surrender. He surrendered on January in 1810, and he did receive a pardon and became a pirate hunter. April of 1810, after a large part of her fleet was destroyed and disbanded, Chang Yi Sao surrendered herself to authorities. She did receive a fairly favorable pardon, so she could keep her plunder, but she had to give away most ships and weapons.
Damn. Many pirate crews were recruited into the Imperial Chinese Navy. If they chose to participate, they'd had to assist with stamping out piracy. Still some pirates. Wei Apu and Shopping Sai plagued the South China Sea.
Okay, so we got a Reddit post, and it's by DSPM99. Today I learned of Feng Shi, originally a prostitute who married a pirate. She ended up commanding a fleet of 20 to 40,000 pirates, battling the Portuguese Empire, British Empire, and Qing Dynasty at various stages. She adopted her son, had 2 children with him, and died a free woman at the age of 69.
Bro, she married her adopted son? Oh my. Well, they're not technically related, but still.
Yeah.
That's a little awkward. I guess it was normal back then. Anyways.
So, below some this is one of my favorite historical facts. Her fleet was so dominant at one point that they had the Chinese Navy by the he balls. I wish they did her justice in POTC.
This man's fucking comment. Nation arc. Originally a prostitute who married a pirate. Okay, she ended up commanding a fleet of 20,000 to 40,000 pirates. Awesome, awesome. Battling the Portuguese Empire, British Empire, and Qing Dynasty. Very badass. Yep, she married her adopted son. Hold up.
To marry your sister, your cousin.
Oh, man. Might as well just marry your mother.
And then Tarothead 88, have a tattoo in tribute to her. She had a sophisticated inventory system, punished people for rape and mistreatment of women. She was able to surrender while keeping her wealth. A true baller. She was a baller.
Why do I keep coming across these fucking comments? Hookers for Doll 2017. Fucking her son before it became cool. What a pioneer. I bet she swapped his deck good. Please stop.
Oh my god.
Please stop.
General I love the fact that on one hand she was a total fucking badass that the Chinese state navy as her bitch and basically couldn't be touched by anyone with a veritable standing of army and militia at her command, having built herself up from basically zero. On the other hand, she was a ruthless killer who trafficked untold numbers of women as sex slaves and was basically one of the largest monsters in the entirety of human history for the sheer amount of suffering she caused. Product over time, yep. Pirate badass, yep. Horrible human being, yep.
Yeah. Your boy Jim777. I hate how pirates are romanticized. They are the equivalent of modern day terrorists. It's impressive that she worked her way up from rags to riches, but people shouldn't forget that she did it by murdering and stealing from thousands of people. Well, it wasn't uncommon back in them times, so she did what she had to do
Yeah,
to
she did.
survive, like everybody else.
And I mean, regardless, like, we can't argue she was able to build herself up a pretty damn big fleet.
I said she got pretty far, my guy. Like,
Yeah, she did.
especially for a woman back in those times, that's pretty impressive in my book.
Yep.
I mean, everybody has to murder and steal. That's just how it goes.
A Cuban cat. If we can't get an actual show about her, then someone should just make a puppet show about her and put it on YouTube. I'll subscribe. The funny thing is, I think the Watcher, they made a puppet show of her.
Oh, yeah, that's right, they did. I forgot about that. It's
Yeah.
puppet history. Yeah, I like that one.
Well, now you got a video from us
Yeah.
about her.
Yeah, exactly. Go watch that. It's cool. Watch their other ones too. They're also really cool, man. Oh, Battle None for all time. Yo, why can't we get an Assassin's Creed with her? Yeah, that
That'd
would
be
be
pretty
very fitting.
progress.
That'd be pretty fitting. Yeah. Cartoon violence. I want a movie about this, or an anime, or an hour and 45 JRPG with blackjack and hookers where Chang Yi gets to be my bestie. That took a turn that I was not expecting, but okay.
Yep.
That's your dream, follow it. Deleted said, or wait, hold on. There it is. P. Daniel, 1990, when you successfully boogaloo entire world governments, Ara Ara, your adopted son, and die at 69. Nice. Yeah, that's an accomplishment.
That is it.
Achievement unlocked. Boogaloo the world. It is without a doubt that Chang Yi Sao deserves the title the most successful Chinese pirate queen ever. Not only did she hold the power to command large fleets, and reign the South China Sea, she was a very respectable pirate. After her surrender, she went on to marry Chang Pao and they moved to Canton. Together they had a son, and she spent the rest of her days managing a successful smuggling racket fronted by a gambling house. In 1844, she passed away, but her legend forever lives on. Thank you for listening to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. Remember to always keep your eyes open, or you may be captured by a pirate and they may do up your booty.